Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We are brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. Also brought to you by D&M Roofing, Omaha's premier commercial and residential roofing contractor. You have stumbled upon the only show in the metro area that talks about business expansion, real estate and construction, things that my co-host and I find rather exciting. And speaking of that co-host, let's bring him on. I like to call him a legendary real estate deal maker because he is a heck of a real estate broker. Good morning, Trenton.
Good morning. I've been doing this a long time, and so have you.
That's right. Trenton Magid there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we have been doing this a long time, and we enjoy every episode as if it were our first one. Trenton, next week we're going to have a special episode. We're going to go live on location to Nebraska Crossing, and we're going to talk about some new retailers out there. So a couple things. We want to make sure that everyone listens next week, although we hope you listen every week. And then if you feel so inclined, come on out to Nebraska Crossing. We're going to be broadcasting from one of the new retailers, Grunt Style. It is a clothing retailer that sells kind of like military, patriotic, pro-veteran, pro-law enforcement type clothing. It is a national online retailer that is opening its very first bricks and mortar location in Nebraska Crossing. We're going to be there. We're going to drop some other news next weekend. So it'd be fun to have some listeners come out and wave.
Do we finally have permission to drop the big news for Nebraska Crossing?
We shall see. We'll drop something, and I don't know if it's the big news we're waiting to drop out there, because we've been saying this for a few weeks. There is some big news coming to Nebraska Crossing. We'll find out. But we are going to drop some news
We're always
next
raising
week.
the bar out there, I can tell you that.
Maybe big news. So we'll find out. But hey, speaking of Nebraska Crossing, if you haven't done this already and you buy things at places like Nebraska Crossing, you're really costing yourself money and missing out on opportunity, and that's the Fast Cash program. If you don't have it yet, get the Next app, sign up for Fast Cash. You tie a credit card to your Fast Cash app. Use that credit card every time you buy something there, and you get 15% cash back. I've been doing it since it went live about almost a year ago. And I'm not a heavy shopper, but just the stuff that I've bought, I have earned back hundreds of dollars of Fast Cash, and you can too. So let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage Company. And Trenton, Eagle Mortgage Company is in the mortgage business, and it doesn't matter whether you're looking to buy a new house or if you still haven't refied. Either way, you want to call Eagle Mortgage Company. They can help you with FHA, VA, conventional loans, all of that. And they just do a very, very good job. They're very customer focused. They listen to you, make the best recommendations for you. For a lot of folks, getting a loan for either refi or a new house is stressful. They do their best to lower that stress. EagleMortgageCompany.com. All right. Let's talk about population. Population numbers came out.
Yes.
And these were well overdue. Normally, the official census numbers come out in the spring of the year following the census. This year, because of COVID, if you're ever late on anything or you are procrastinating or whatever, just blame the pandemic, and people be like, yes.
There's a lot of that going around.
And
Supply chain, pandemic.
You get a pass, yeah.
We're out of the soup of the day, pandemic.
You can absolutely fumble the ball and have it be 100% your fault. But if you just say COVID, people are like, oh, nope, say no more.
Yep.
You are completely forgiven. So because of COVID, the Census Bureau was several months late for their data. But nevertheless, it's here. And the 2020 census numbers look very good. Very good for the metro area. So, Trenton, we're going to play Stump the Trenton. Or
I have no prior knowledge of these numbers, ladies and gentlemen.
Or sometimes I like to refer to it as Stump the Tone Star, because for those of you who don't know, his nickname is the Tone Star. So let's play a game of Stump the Tone Star.
There's a whole story behind that.
All right. What is the new population, the official population in 2020 for the city of Omaha?
City proper or all the metro?
City proper, city of Omaha. Inside the city limits.
490,000.
You are really close. 486,051
But I went
people.
over.
Yeah, 40, but in this game, there's no penalty for going over. 486,000 people. So since 2010, the city of Omaha has added more than 77,000 people net. That is a 19% growth rate.
Okay.
Pretty darned impressive. A little bit better than I would have thought.
A couple percent per year. That's good.
Yeah. Now, some people say, well, that's just because Omaha can annex areas. It's not real growth. Contraire, my friend, because the city of Omaha has set up its whole entire system for growing based on sanitary improvement districts and annexations. Some people some cities require that they annex the land before they allow development. We just don't do it that way. So anyone who says, well, Omaha's only growing because it annexes people is really saying something kind of naive and narrow-minded, because they don't realize that's the whole system that has been set up. So Omaha growing by 77,000, 19% growth rate. If you look at the other top 50, top 100 cities in the United States, a 19% growth rate is pretty impressive. And so we can be proud of that.
We'll take it.
All right. Stump the Tone Star question part 2. What is the official 2020 census population for the Omaha metropolitan area?
I'll say 965.
Dang, you are really good. You really don't know these numbers, do you?
I didn't know these came out.
968.
Wow.
Yeah, 968,000 people. So that is an 11.8% growth rate for the metro area, more than 1% a year, which is very, very healthy, especially for a cold weather city. Very, very healthy. We have added a net of more than 100,000 people to the metro area in only 10 years.
Well, but a lot of people, when you see our statistics, a lot of people that are, I don't know if you want to call it puffing or not, but they'll add Lincoln in and say that our area is 1.2 million.
It would actually be more than that, because Lincoln metropolitan area is 341,000. So if you put those two together, you're a little over 1.3 million now.
Perfect.
Yeah. So and Lincoln's been growing very, very healthfully as well. And the rest of Nebraska, not so much.
That's what I wanted to ask. Are we growing at the detriment of outstate Nebraska and Iowa?
We're not necessarily growing at the detriment of outstate Nebraska, but we're growing in spite of the fact that we're in Nebraska. Only 24 of Nebraska's 93 counties grew in the last 10 years. The rest shrunk. And many of the 24 grew very slowly.
But we're getting some kids, and we're getting population growth of people that come out of those smaller schools.
Sure, because this is where the opportunity is and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to confuse the good people who listen to the show a little bit more, Trenton, because there are two metropolitan definition areas. The main one is MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Area. That's what people typically consider when they talk about a metro area population. There is a thing called a CMSA, a combined metropolitan statistical area. And if you have a little micropolitan area next to your metro area, they put it together for your CMSA.
Really?
So our MSA is the main part of Omaha, and then a total of 8 counties. 5 in Nebraska, 3 in Iowa. Some of those counties are very, very small. And that's all defined by Census Bureau definitions. It all depends on commuting patterns. Every metro area and every city has to have the same thing. So our metro area is 968,000 people. Our combined MSA, which adds Dodge County and the city of Fremont, get this, for the first time ever, over 1 million.
Excellent.
Yeah, so 1,004,771.
But that helps. Doesn't that help with federal dollars and things like that?
Perhaps, but to the best of my knowledge, I think we really look at MSA, just the MSA, which is 968. So here are a couple little population tidbits for other cities in the area. City of Bellevue, 28% growth rate. Bellevue.
Wow.
Bellevue is now up to 64,000 people.
I can't wait to hear about La Vista and Papillion then, and Gretna.
Papillion, 28% growth rate 24,159. La Vista, 6.27% growth rate for 16,746. Ralston, which is landlocked, grew a lot, 9.27%. So now about 6,500 people. Gretna still only has a little over 5,000 people, but I don't think that aggressive annexation package that they did counted for 2020 because it was just finally allowed in 2021. Nevertheless, over a 14% growth rate. But kudos, City of Omaha, 19%, Bellevue and Papillion, both 28%. There's one little other statistical tidbit I'm going to throw at you before we move on, and that is Douglas and Sarpy County. Douglas County grew at 13%, added 67,000 people in the last 10 years. Sarpy County grew at 20%, by far the biggest growth rate of any county in Nebraska, and that grew by 32%. So Douglas and Sarpy County alone added 99,000 people, and the people who were just added to those two, well, the people that were added to just Douglas County would be the third biggest city in Nebraska. So there is your news of the week.
For the record, my friend Brian Keel, who's listening right now, thank you, Brian. He just texted me saying that that I saw the numbers and I'm not Rain Man. But I always tell people I'm like Rain Man, but I can't do the thing with the numbers.
That's true.
And for the record, I didn't see those numbers, and that was my best guess.
Well, and you weren't, if you were Rain Man, you would have had it down to the person. You know,
Exactly.
When I said the population of Omaha, you would have said 486,051.
No, I would have said definitely 4,000.
Definitely, most definitely.
Most definitely.
But you were actually 3,000 off, so you're in no way Rain Man. You're just pretty darn good guesser, though.
Yeah, I'll take that.
And that's your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com, or in person at 114th and Davenport Street. When we come back, it's going to kind of be a continuation of the news because we have got a few other things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a new hotel being built downtown. We're going to talk about the place we had dinner last night. I'm going to give you a quick restaurant review and a few other things. So don't miss any of it. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge, and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals, Trenton Maggot at your service. We represent NAI NP Dodge. Show is also brought to you by D&M Roofing. We love Eric Obremt and his entire team at D&M Roofing because they make us look good. We recommend D&M Roofing. They go out and work with Grow Omaha clients and Grow Omaha listeners, and those folks say to us, hey, thanks for that recommendation. They did such a good job. We only recommend companies that we know do a good job and we fully believe in. So feel good about using NAI NP Dodge and D&M Roofing. Hey, we mentioned Trenton's name, Tone Star, and there have been a couple people that have texted him saying, what's this? Why do they call you the Tone Star? Why do they call you the Tone Star? If you want to know, you're going to have to wait for a few days and listen to Grow Omaha Uncut on growomaha.com because we just divulged it, and that'll be on Grow Omaha Uncut midweek maybe. Yeah, probably shows up.
Riveting video, ladies
midweek,
and gentlemen, on our YouTube channel.
You can actually see what we say and do during the commercial breaks, which sometimes can be very insightful. We'll drop some things we probably shouldn't say. And then other breaks, well, frankly, are kind of boring because we just sit there and look at each other. But others, sometimes we will sometimes we actually drop things during the breaks that we can't say on the radio.
Right.
Maybe even an occasional word, not too many, that we can't say on the radio.
PG-13.
But nevertheless. So the Moxie Hotel by Marriott, this is a project we've been talking about for a long time. It's been planned for a few years now on that tiny little postage stamp-sized lot.
Where the diner was.
Where the diner was. What would that be? Southeast corner,
Hardy.
12th and Hardy?
Yeah,
12th and Hardy. Boy, I drove by yesterday when I was downtown yesterday morning for a meeting. Holy cow, that is full-throated, full-speed, all-out construction right now. Foundations going in, and that's going to be really nice. That'll be the first Moxie Marriott Hotel in Nebraska. There aren't a ton of them in the world. It's still a relatively new brand. I always kind of got the impression that it competes a little bit with Aloft, but it's a little more boutique-like and a little more urban-looking, say, than a traditional urban-looking than, say, an Aloft is.
Yeah,
but
packing it in there.
It will be. That's no doubt. And then if you're also downtown, that Mercantile building just a little bit to the east really is going up.
That first floor is commercial, ladies and gentlemen. Those are some high ceilings for restaurants or retail or whatever. It's impressive.
That's how you know you and I have been in the same business together for a long time, because the first time I drove by it, I'm like, damn, those are some high ceilings for the first floor. We've been working together a long time. Frighteningly, we think a lot alike. So next thing on the list, the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema in Southport getting very, very close to opening. In fact, I can give you an exact date here. Now, the one in Midtown Crossing is going to be maybe a month or 2 or 3 still behind that. But
I hope it reopens. It would be good.
Yeah, I suspect it will. But the Southport La Vista location, September 3rd. So that's just right around the corner. And I know a lot of people have been waiting for that theater to open. And then if you have,
I've really enjoyed the ACX though. I'll tell you what,
love that place.
Bill Barstow and his family and his team do an amazing job out there. And the backlot pizza and that restaurant is consistent and good. And the sound quality and the picture quality of ACX 12 Plus is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a beautiful theater. He's talking about the one in the Coventry area on the west side of
Q.
Yeah, between Q and Harrison. Looks great. And like you said, that restaurant is really, really good. Hey, speaking of restaurants, you and I, along with our 2 significant others, Stephanie Beals and Amy Polanco, along with Deb Grave Morrison and her husband, Jim Morrison, we, the 6 of us, NP Dodge families, we went out to Dynamite last night. And this is the new kind of steakhouse, American-style, upscale restaurant in the brand-new Farnham Hotel in the Landmark Building. I thought it was a great dinner, great cocktails, good service, beautiful atmosphere. I can't wait to go back.
And absolutely, and I've been there 3 or 4 times, and it gets better every time, and it was great. And it this is right across from the park that is going to open next year, and there's just so much going on in that vibrant area. We love the dessert.
Yeah. Now I didn't eat any of the dessert because Amy, you and Stephanie all shared the dessert.
It was an apple tart, was it? Apple pecan tart. Unbelievable, with a scoop of vanilla ice cream.
I ate. See, now I went a little more exuberant on the appetizers than you guys did, because we got those Reuben croquettes,
also known as Reuben balls.
Yeah, basically they're like deep fried Reuben balls. Reuben croquettes. I went a little hog wild on those. We had Brussels sprouts for an appetizer. We had this cornbread for an appetizer. And I noticed I was still appetizering long after the rest of you had finished appetizer. So I couldn't eat the dessert, but the dessert did look good.
Really educated staff, huge wine collection, unbelievable wood fire grill and smoker inside.
All from wood fired. I got the flaming yone. Pretty good. What did you get? Some fish dish or something?
I got the striped bass.
Bass. That's like bass. You never think of people eating bass. Bass is like something you pull out of like Lake Manawa. I don't know the last time was it good?
Very good.
I don't know the last time I ate bass. Trout in the mountains, but I don't know about the last time I had bass. So I have to try that sometime. Well, that's your restaurant review for today. We like to periodically do that just to kind of keep you up to date with some things that are going on. And before we go to the break, we're going to do the Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight, brought to you by Noddle Companies, a little bit early. We normally do it after the break, but we're going to do it a little bit early because after the break, we're going to bring on David Brown, who is president and CEO of the Greater Omaha Chamber, going to talk to us about a lot of different economic development type things. So you definitely don't want to miss any of that. But at any rate, let's go into our Noddle Companies Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight. And we love talking about Noddle Companies because they have so many developments in the Omaha area. Last week, Trenton, Sam Noddle and you on the show talked about Exarban and some of the new things that are going on there. Noddle Companies is also doing River's Edge in Council Bluffs, Steel Ridge in Gretna. They're doing the medical center campus on the west side of Village Point, doing some residential projects and many other things. Well, yet another project is the Builders District. And
it's headquarters of Kiewit
yeah.
University.
which looks really good, by the way. I was downtown twice yesterday. I had a meeting there, say like middle of the day. And then, like I said, we all, the six of us went out for dinner last night. And so I was down in the Builders District, and I noticed if you go on the west side of 16th Street, west of the new Kiewit headquarters, that has all really been graded and prepped and all that. And so we're expecting hopefully soon some condo-like buildings going down in that area. And then there's also talk that Nautil Companies is looking at doing possibly an office building to the south side of the Kiewit headquarters. So that's really primed.
With retail on the first floor.
Should look really, really good. And then not too far away from there, so you got the Builders District, and then right next to it, to the northeast, is Millwork Commons. They kind of seem like the same thing because they're all north downtown, but they're two separate districts.
Right.
Interestingly, Sweet Magnolia's Bakery, which is very popular, it's in kind of north side of Midtown, 40th Street by St. Cecilia's Cathedral. Good local bakery. They're going to do a second location inside the Ashton building in Millwork Commons, which is part of that.
Cross-Train Brewery and all that?
Yeah, so that area is really picking up. And so I think when you see Builders District adding more buildings, it's just going to have more and more momentum for that whole north downtown area.
Absolutely.
And that is your Nautil Companies Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight for the week. Nautil Companies, based here in Omaha, does commercial real estate development all over the country. You'd be surprised how many projects they have around. You can find out more about them at nautilcompanies.com. Going to take our middle of the show break. And when we come back, we're going to chat with David Brown, the president and CEO of the Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI NP Dodge and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment, News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. We are brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. Trenton, we were going to talk a little bit about some Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce topics. And over the week, we had some economic development officials from the chamber come in and visit us at NAI NP Dodge.
Kind of them to do it.
Yeah, it was really insightful. And now we tried really hard to get some of the big secrets out of them. And I know a couple of our brokers even brought some rope and duct tape.
Absolutely.
But nevertheless, we were not able to get them to crack. I even brought up, last week on the show, you guys talked about the big project that's going on at Highway 133 and State Street, 1.4 million square feet of data center space.
261 acres.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be a game changer for that northwest corridor. That doesn't see as much activity as the gateway between Omaha and Lincoln.
I tried all my best techniques to get them to crack and divulge who it might be, or
what does it rhyme with?
What does it rhyme with? I'm like, flutter your eyelid twice if it is fill in the blank. I tried everything, but they didn't crack. So, but that is an exciting project. Nevertheless, so we had the economic development people there, and I thought one thing they said, a lot of things they said was interesting, but one thing in particular, they said last year at this time in the year, we had a couple of $1 billion worth of potential economic development business in the pipeline.
Yep.
And of course, if something's in the pipeline, it doesn't mean that it's definitely going to be happening. It's like a sales pipeline. It may or may not. We just hope it is. This year, they said in the pipeline, $6 billion something worth of potential projects. That's
Absolutely.
Insane.
When you shut off the economy for so long and so quickly, it comes roaring back.
Well, and then I think the other part of it is the natural growth in logistics, warehousing, distribution. We saw during the pandemic that the whole just-in-time way of thinking in the industrial industries is not in the industrial markets is not necessarily a good thing. A lot of manufacturers weren't able to get things when they needed it to build stuff.
We're still seeing some of that.
And then the other problem was because there were so many people at home, the distribution center was taxed just to get retail goods to people. So this has led to a boom in warehouse projects, logistics, transportation.
Not surprisingly, when they talked about these qualified leads and inquiries on what type of project, there are some office users, some retail, but the bulk of it, as you can imagine, are industrial distribution, packaging, food packaging. If some of the inventory existed, and when there's vacancies in big industrial properties or any types of properties, it might be hurtful for a time being with those landlords, but it gives us the inventory, and the chamber is all over that because they want to help fill those, bring jobs to Omaha, expand local businesses as well. And so we look at both shovel-ready sites that can do ground-up projects, and then also vacant warehouses and other types of buildings that can be repurposed.
Yes, absolutely. And I know one of the things that came up when we were talking about all of these big projects like this with the economic development folks from the chamber this week was the fact that a lot of projects that in past years may have been constructed on one of the coasts are now really liking places like Omaha because central location or what have you. And so not only do they need more of these warehousing industrial type buildings to meet up with demand, they need more of them inland so that we don't have to be as vulnerable to supply chain interruptions. The other thing is we're seeing more manufacturing happen domestically, and it looks like Omaha can benefit from the increase in manufacturing.
Onshoring,
right shoring, upshoring, whatever the appropriate term
Bring
is.
it back. I thought it was really interesting that our friend Todd Johnson, who's Senior Vice President of Economic Development at the Chamber, and the rest of the team there, he was talking about how do we retain our talent, college-age students and beyond. How do we bring people back here and not just people that have a tie to Omaha, but also attract new talent. Everybody, every city, every state is looking for these jobs to bring these people back here and attract them. And so we're doing good. We're doing a lot to do that, but we can always do more. And things like Steelhouse Omaha, the new music venue, the Science Center, anything to make it more attractive. But he also said that it takes the people that have those college friends that came back to Omaha to really reach out and talk to those people. It can't be people that are our age or older. They'll listen to us, but not like they would their peers.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was a really good point, and we need to deputize our young professionals to bring back their friends, their high school buddies, their college buddies, and get those talented men and women back into our community. Well, we appreciate you listening to that. That is our Greater Omaha Chamber report for the quarter. Wanted to share with you some of those very encouraging economic development numbers, facts, figures, and statistics. We're going to take our final break of the show, and that's a good thing because when we come back, it is the lightning round. Everyone loves the lightning round, brought to you by Turner Construction. I'm just looking at the list. We have a lot of things to cover, so let's get on with the break. When we come back, lightning round, lots of stuff. Jeff Beals, Trent Magan on KFAB, and we'll chat with you in just a moment. And welcome back to the show. It's the lightning round, brought to you by Turner Construction. Turner Construction is building Omaha. They are building America, and Turner Construction is building for the future. 150 full-time Turner employees in this area, many of which are local to the Omaha area. They have really been good for the economy. We so appreciate them because Turner came in years ago for the massive Sarpy County Data Center.
And they'll be working on that for years to come.
There's a lot of work at the Sarpy County Data Center, and but they're doing all these other small projects as well. Building they had been officing out of the Mastercraft building, really cool building up in the Mercantile District, North Downtown. They are working on their own office warehouse area out in Sarpy County where they can have everything together and better serve the whole metro area. So they are definitely committed to the long haul. For being a part of the Omaha economy, a part of the Omaha built environment. Turner Construction, turnerconstruction.com. All right, first item on the news is kind of a fun one because, Trent and I love food, and this is the Deviled Egg Company. They plan to open in September, sometime in September, in a former GNC space next to Michael's at Papillion's Shadow Lake Town Center. This company started and is located in Ralston. They primarily sell online. I know I had their product last year during the Christmas season at Westroads while doing some shopping. It was like in a little silver trailer, and really good stuff. I really liked it. They've got the regular deviled eggs plus sriracha, Mexican, barbecue, buffalo blue cheese, on and on, many different others. So that's that. And then, Trenton, we also have the Commercial Real Estate Summit coming up.
Absolutely. This is something that's near and dear to our hearts. And for over 30 years, Jerry Slusky and his team have put on an unbelievable, it's called the CRE Commercial Real Estate Summit, formerly known as the Commercial Real Estate Workshop, at the CHI Health Center on August 20th. It's an all-day seminar. Registration starts at 7:30. If you go to Attend CRE Summit, and what this is about, it's called, this year's title is called Rewriting the Playbook, Moving Forward from Here. And as you can imagine, with the pandemic, everything that's been going on in the last year, we have to figure out how our industry has changed. And it's not just for commercial real estate brokers. It's appraisers and lenders, attorneys, real estate, anybody that's in real estate, architecture, engineers, contractors, developers, anybody that's interested. There's a lot of continuing education that you can get if you're in some of these disciplines. And so go to Attend CRE Summit, learn about it. This is next Friday, August 20th, and we'd love to see you there.
And next item on the news list, commercial real estate professionals who have been eagerly awaiting for technology giants, the big companies that are based in Silicon Valley, to return to the workplace, are going to have to revise their calendars as the nation's most high-profile tech companies are grappling with the latest surge of coronavirus cases with this whole Delta variant. And these companies tend to be pushing their return to the office plans further into the future. This is according to CoStar, which provides us with our real estate data. After leading the way both with their initial response to send workers home when the pandemic started really bearing down on us back in March of 2020, as well as planning this year to return some semblance of normalcy, these big tech companies, they're just hesitant there, and they are rolling back their office openings, and it could affect Omaha.
It's unfortunate. I understand it. Safety first, but to go, there's a lot to unload there. But I just hope that we're not being overly protective at the long-term detriment of the economy and socialization.
And I'm going to expose one of my biases here, but I believe we are. I believe we are. I think there's definitely some inherent risks there, and I will never be a type of person who diminishes the significance and seriousness of the Delta variant, because I know it is serious, but commerce works better when people are in the same building together, collaborating, being creative, making ideas come back to life. I think it's really important.
I feel for new entrants into the workplace, not being able to team build and learn the traditional way of adulting, as they now say.
And there are some people out there that could use a little bit of adulting in their life. Hey, little fast food news for you. Construction has started on a new Arby's location on the south side of West Center Road at 185th Street. That is in front of a Lowe's store there. One would presume this is probably a replacement for the Arby's that is currently located at 172nd or ish and Center. I imagine they probably wouldn't have two that close together, but we will find out. Have a new retailer in One Pacific Place. It's called Eden's Preserve. It is opened in a 960 square foot space next to PLNK Omaha. Is that Plank? PLNK Omaha? Is that supposed to be like Plank Omaha?
It sounds fitness, like planking.
Which is why I have no idea what it is.
Right.
This company, Eden's Preserve, provides beauty, home, pet, and wellness products that are 100% natural, eco-friendly, and come from family-owned small businesses. And then also, going back to the far west center corridor, there's going to be a 20,000 square foot Aldi grocery store opening.
Modern looking.
Yeah. Have you seen it lately?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it is. It's enclosed.
It doesn't look like an Aldi. It's not your grandfather's Aldi.
Yeah. Although I don't know if they really had Aldi around here. My grandfather was doing a lot of grocery shopping.
True.
Not that my grandfather went to the grocery store all that often. But
It's not your older brother's Aldi.
it's not your parents' Aldi. Looks good. Signage is in place, northwest corner of 192nd and West Center Road. And then Dundee Bank has officially opened its third branch at 1407 South 13th Street. That's in Little Bohemia. And there was a mural on the north exterior of that building. They refurbished it. And you can, if you saw it, Trent, you'd be like, oh yeah, that mural, because it had kind of faded over time, but it's kind of a Little Bohemia
That's
mural.
nice.
I thought they did a
cool.
pretty good job with it. Dundee Bank has locations in addition to this Little Bohemia site, also in Blackstone and, well, Dundee,
Right.
of course. If I remember correctly,
The
though,
old Natural Kind Cafe, McFoster's.
that's right. That's the Dundee Bank in Blackstone. If I remember correctly, they're a small town bank that decided to come into the Omaha market and chose the name Dundee and opened their first location there.
Yes, serving them well.
Then another bank, Equitable Bank, which is based in Grand Island. It's been in Omaha for some time in the Old Mill area. They are now fully operating their branch office at 202nd and Pacific. I was in that branch office yesterday. It's nice. And it's interesting how retail banking has changed so much. You go into these brand new retail banks, they feel more like a coffee shop than they do a bank.
What's interesting about retail banking is everybody thought everything was going to go online and they were going to close branch banks and they would not have the drive-throughs and everything's digital. But there's banks from Lincoln coming in. There's local banks that are expanding. Chase came to the market. They're doing ground-up retail banks, and these are sizable buildings. They're not small buildings. They're not end caps, but they're the way banking has been.
Chase coming into the market has been a story. We've talked about some of the Chase branches that have opened and are opening, but that's a big story. I mean, Chase, JP Morgan Chase, is one of the world's biggest companies.
Yeah.
And to have them coming into the market's pretty impressive.
And there's a lot of big hometown favorites that people like. And so, but it seems like the banking market's expanding.
Hey,
I've got a couple of great bank sites, by the way, that if anybody needs a location at Southport West and on West Center Road, complete banking facilities, pretty much turnkey.
I bet you do.
Call Trenton.
Basically, if you need any kind of facility, just call Trenton. He's got access to a lot of things. Construction is expected to begin soon on a 26,000 square foot building that'll be a flight line support facility at Offutt Air Force Base. And construction starting on August 24th on the Carter Lake Community Center, 1120 Willow Drive in Carter Lake, Iowa. Plans call for renovation of the library and the addition of a 13,500 square foot clubhouse. And then Trenton, a deal that you were involved in, we've got a Tommy's Express car wash coming to Papillion.
Yeah, Mitchell Properties is a developer and operator of Tommy's Car Wash, and it's going to be on the southwest corner of 84th and Highway 370, also known as Washington Street. It'll be neat. It's a couple acres, and it'll do great.
Well, that's exciting, and that's a wrap. Your what do we call it? Lightning round by Turner Construction. That's it for this week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge, and D&M Roofing. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.